NDP MLA David Eby amended his complaint with the Conflict of Interest Commissioner after learning the BC Liberal Party gave Premier Christy Clark $300,000 as a salary top-up. David, what happened today?
The complaint that I originally filed raised the issue of the Premier's salary top-up of her stipend that she receives from the BC Liberal Party and the issue of who is paying for the Premier's lawyer. I didn't know the answer to either of those questions, how much money she was getting or who was paying for her lawyer. Now I know that the Premier has received $300,000 since she's become the leader, the Premier of British Columbia, which came to her in part, all through donations made to the BC Liberal Party. And in addition, that her lawyer is being paid for to defend this practice of fundraising that she's engaged in, to defend this $300,000 that she's taking from political donations. That lawyer is being paid for by the public. So I amended my complaint to include this new information, which I find incredibly concerning, and I think really amplifies the issue of these private dinners where she charges $20,000 per person to sit and have a nice dinner with her at someone's home.
David, what do you think the Premier should do to remedy the situation?
Well, I mean, it's a difficult situation to correct. I mean, the Premier has now taken $300,000. I'm not sure whether she'd be able to pay that back. In addition, she's held a number of these events with business leaders where they sit down over dinner and tell her what their priorities are for $20,000, money that in part goes to pay for this $300,000 that she's received. I've asked the Conflict Commissioner to look at this. There are a number of things that he could do. At a minimum, I think she needs to stop taking this additional money. She already gets paid $190,000 per year to be the Premier. She's not going to starve if she doesn't take the extra $50,000 per year. And in addition, I mean, the Conflict Commissioner has to look at who's been sitting down with her and what decisions her government has to make sure she's not unduly influenced by these donations.
If no wrongdoing is found, what's your next move?
I mean, I do have a concern that the Conflict Commissioner will look at this and compare it to the laws in British Columbia and say, you know what, this conduct is legal in British Columbia. It'll be one more piece of evidence that we really need to amend BC's laws to get the big money out of politics. I think from the perception of most British Columbians, this kind of conduct is unacceptable now in 2016. Shouldn't be happening. Most other provinces have banned this kind of activity, these kinds of donations. The federal government has as well. So I really hope that if the Commissioner finds that this is somehow legal, that we change those rules immediately, because this is unacceptable.